Good morning ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Darren, how's it going today? Today, it's the morning, it's 1 o'clock. I apologise profusely for my lack of vlogging today. I've been really busy though. Got up this morning on time, went to bed early last night so that I could have a good sleep, slash catch up on sleep, and I'm now feeling it. I'm a little bit tired now, which is why I'm going to bed, but I think you can justifiably tired at 1 o'clock in the morning when you have to get up at 6. So yeah, heading on into work. I all but pushed it to get to work on time today because the traffic was really bad. So it appears that, like, I would guess all of the schools are back now, and the traffic got hit because, like, I know they've had like a staggered. They always have a staggered start, but the traffic was really bad today on the way in. I made it in on time, but it was like a bit touch and go. So I'm going to have to leave 5 minutes earlier just to make 100% sure. Got in at 8 o'clock and I was working on the thing I was working on the other day, which was essentially a thing that we have a process that runs overnight, and in some cases it can take, well no, most of the time it takes way too long, and they want to cut down how it does it. Currently it goes through and picks out all of the different what does it do? It goes through like X many thousand things and then goes, how many, is this true for all of this? And then it goes off and does a fuckload of stuff. And then goes, yeah, okay, that is true, do this. How about this? And then it'll go through and then there's like a chain of different things. There's quite a few things it could do. Yesterday I was trying to figure out how I could, I was trying to figure out what it was doing basically by stepping through the code. And then I did a couple of like bulk tests to kind of test the water with test data, but I wasn't really getting anywhere. When I got in though, I was being shown the thing. If you remember yesterday, I was saying that I might have said my boss was like trying to show me something that he said he should have showed me in the first place. But someone sat with me and like walked me through all that. So I was actually looking through like XML configuration files that set up the like products for the company and stuff. Which means that I was able to follow it through, and instead of like looking at the code, I can essentially go, right, that's doing that, that's doing that, that's doing that, and I was able to like look at it and go, oh yeah, I've seen that in the code. It's like going through this thing, and in this scenario it does this. So once I managed to figure that out, it's a lot more complicated than they thought it would be, but they have the advantage, we think we have the advantage that like there are some cases that happen a lot, like 90% of the time, so we should be able to just swipe them out before we actually go through this loop, and then we just go through the loop for everything else. So I was trying to figure out how to do that, which involved trying to sort out like database connections. I was like diving through the database, trying to pull out information and see how things link together. SQL is something that I'm not like amazing at. It's not something that I've had an awful amount of experience with. I mean, I had like mild experience when I was at my placement. I had mild experience with interacting with the database, but 9 times out of 10, like if it was a complicated interaction, someone knew that area better than us, and they had like a superscript we could use, and then you could just basically select what you want. So I don't really have much experience. I haven't experienced like reading SQL and then like editing it myself, but then building one from scratch. It's hard work. But the main difficulty is getting my head around like the domain knowledge and trying to figure out what's important and where, and like how to get from this object to this object. Because I've got this. I need to know the state on this, but they don't share an ID. And it's like there's a chain of 4 different objects in the middle that I've got to like to get to there. It's a bit of a pain in the ass. So I need to check that certain things are true on all of these different things, and then I also need to do an update, which means I need to update that based on all these things, and it gets tasty fast. So I managed to figure it out towards the end of the day. I was also discussing testing with some people, because we were trying to discuss like what granularity a unit test should be, and when does it become an integration test, and could you argue that testing a public interface is technically an integration test? So we're having a huge debate about that, where we essentially came to disagree. I was of that persuasion a long time ago that you should test private methods. I changed my mind because it usually end up having to duplicate code, duplicate tests, usually, or it's an indication that you could design your code better if you have to rely on testing private methods. Yeah, otherwise that was that. Otherwise we had 2 meetings today. First meeting was a code review for my tutorials, and the reviewer said that he really likes me. He was like, "Oh man, I really like your code. It's like really neat." And then he keeps saying like things. "Oh, so could you just show me this?" Or then knowing yours, it's going to be really neat. And then he's like, "No one has written like these tutorials this neat before." I'm like, "Yes, buddy. Yes." Showed him my test. And he's like, "This is really impressive. This is really impressive. We could really do with someone like this writing tests for the main system." And I'm like, "I know, buddy. I know." So all praise. Very well done. I stormed the tutorials. They went brilliantly. Super proud of myself. And then I had a meeting at the end of the day, which was like a business meeting thing, about what the development department's doing at the moment and all that kind of stuff. Annoyingly, that was scheduled in 4 till 5, which is irritating when I leave at 4:30. So I stayed for that, but then I'm gonna see if I can basically leave a bit earlier the next couple of days, 15 minutes early, to build up that time back. Because I then ended up having to drive back, and driving back at 5's a bitch because there's more traffic. God damn. Basically, the reason I work the hours I do is because it's the most efficient way to spend my time. I don't do anything in the morning, so I get up and go to work when there's no traffic. I then come back when there's less traffic than there would be. But yeah, so I was kind of irritated. I also had an email today from my old job, not my placement job, my other job, because I disputed a paycheck because they said they paid me and I said you haven't paid me enough. Basically, when I handed my notice in, they terminated my contract and then didn't pay me for my notice period, and I said you should have paid me for my notice period because I was willing to work my notice period and I wasn't told I wouldn't be paid. And I won, so that should be coming through for the next couple of days. Happy days. What else then? So I came back home, was back home a little bit late. Today we've basically been, oh no, another thing, fucking, when someone giveth, someone else taketh, fucking, we could check into our flights now for our holiday, and the airline pre-allocates you seats, and then you can pick your seats if you want to. So the seats that we've been allocated were either side of an aisle, because that means we're together, we're sat together. I'm so you're telling me that your the way that you randomly select your allocation randomly puts us, even though there are available seats where you can sit next to each other, at random put us on the aisle so that we would pay to move so we can actually sit next to each other. Come on. I didn't want to pay, but I know full well that it's a 4-hour flight. It's a long way. Well, it's not a long way, but it's 4 hours. It's longer than... Yeah, Tunisia. That's weird. It's further away than Tunisia. I think it's a lot further south than where we've been in Tunisia before. And one of the flights is going to be overnight, and we essentially want to be able to sleep. And it's obviously better to sleep if we can lean on each other. So we bit the bullet and paid to book our seats so we can sit next to each other instead of having this aisle in between us. Which is really, I think that's really fucking crafty. If you're going to... Because they're basically saying, well, we've allocated you some seats. You're choosing to sit in these 2 free seats here, next to each other. So we're going to charge you £9.50 per seat, per leg. So for both legs we had to do that, so we had to move 2 different seats, 2 seats, so that we could sit together. It cost us £38. £38, the rip-offing bastards. All I'm saying is, I doubt that your algorithm that randomly selected those seats, you know what I mean? Let's put 2 people here, because they're probably going to pay. They're probably going to pay us to move over, you know? So let's do that. They probably like have some kind of algorithm that figures out who's most likely to pay. You know what I mean? Either way, so that was irritating. We then had dinner. We went up to Morrison's to pick up some lottery tickets because Laura's organising like a lottery syndicate. Well, not organising. She's been lumbered with this week doing a lottery syndicate for work. And then Laura went out for a run. I came out on my longboard to go with her because it was dark, and I feel like we don't get to spend much time together these days, like because Laura's been working late and then been like going out and stuff after work. I haven't seen her much, so I thought I think I'm going to go out and we're just going to have a chinwag while you run. Then came back, watched some TV, mildly watched a bit of news because like we were running late on everything because Laura didn't leave work until I got home. She's been working late. I've told her off for staying working late. And working through a lunch break as well. Like, don't do it, because if you're going to do it, they're going to expect it forever. And even worse than that, they're going to expect like the amount of work that you put out to be the norm, even though it's not the norm, because you're going above and beyond. Like, stop it, or at least make them fucking aware of the fact that you're working for free, which is illegal. I'm a very strong. I absolutely despise the culture where you're expected to work longer than you're paid for. Firstly, because it's against your rights. It's illegal to not be paid for work. Absolutely outright illegal. And secondly, because that's not how it works. I'm a really strong advocate, which is why like I've been having to say about half an hour. Not going to be a case of like, bam, this is the thing. Essentially, if I stay in this meeting, then I'm at work, not being paid, and that's illegal. It's not a case of. I think it's just drawing a line. It's not a case of like not being willing to go out of my way for the company. Like if the shit's hit the fan one night and a bug's gone live and I have to hang around to fix it, I'll hang around to fix it. And it's not like I watch the clock and as soon as the clock goes I go. If I'm in the middle of something I'll like tidy it up or whatever. But like half an hour to an hour over, I'm like, this is getting ridiculous, especially if it's been every day of the week. So I'm a strong advocate for saying when it is that you're working when you shouldn't be and just drawing a line. Like the thing I always say is there's like a triangle between like money, quality and features. And there becomes a point when you're working optimally, or a business is working optimally, they're spending just the right amount of money, they're getting just the right amount of features, and they're getting just the right amount of quality. If you try and increase quality, or reduce money, or increase features without spreading out any of the others, it's not going to work. You can't, like at the moment, you can't just double the amount of features you've got and expect everyone to just do it. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have a set capacity. I can do a set capacity a week, and that's what I'll do. If you need more work doing, you either take the work out or you pay for more people. That's just. So, I'm a very, very, very strong advocate for, or against the culture where specifically graduates are expected or pressured because like they want to impress to do other things. I'm like work-life balance. I want to go, like, you pay me from here to here, I'll help out every now and again, but otherwise pay me from there to there. I value my own time, and if you do that, they can't do anything about it because you're well within your rights and it's 100% illegal to work without being paid. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that. And then came back here. I've been working on my own stuff, on my project this evening. I've been logging time. I'm now officially over my 7.5 hour a week allocation for my main project, which means I should technically do my next project tomorrow. It's because came home late. I was going to spend a bit of time on Atlas before Laura got back, setting stuff up and things. But I then didn't. God damn it. But I've been working on supporting different frameworks of the C#, of the .NET framework in C#, which is a bit of a pain. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I've now got the option so that it can be inputted in. So the user's able to input C#, well, store in a config file at the moment, and then I'll be able to input at some point. C#, .NET Core version 1.0. I've now got to figure out a way of validating that. Because you can't say C#, .NET Core 4.6.2. Because that doesn't exist. So I need to figure out a way of validating it to make sure that that's right. And I don't know how to do it. I'm trying to figure out how to do it. And I've been looking at like different patterns and things to see if there's a way. And I think I'm just going to have to put like a validate button on the object, because I'm serializing it from JSON, so it's not like I can go through a builder and say, oh, you've set this, that means you need this builder. I can't use that because I've deserialized it all, unless I then pass that through a builder, you know? Which I think is overkill. I think that's a bit strange. Is it strange? I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to think about at the moment. That's my puzzle. But anyway, I should go to bed. I've been rambling for way too long. Tomorrow, it's Friday. I don't know what we're doing in the evening, but I imagine we're doing a lot. Like we have to do white washing and stuff tonight. We're going to put a washing, I think, tomorrow to make sure that everything's clear and out of the way. On Saturday, we've got to get a haircut, both of us. We're then going off back to Nottingham. On Sunday, Laura's running a half marathon. And Monday back to work, Tuesday, etc. Then we're going on holiday. So it's going to be a manic couple of weeks, couple of days. It'll be fun. But yeah, it's time to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to try and sleep on this how to validate thing. What I'm thinking would be quite cool is having some kind of API where I could say, but it's kind of like, this is, if I was to have like a builder, I could have like a Fluent builder that says, build this object, whatever I call this other object that's now got this like second object which is different to the one that's in the configuration file but is used by the system. This object dot build, and then you can say dot set programming language, and then you set the programming language that's in the configuration file. You then go dot set framework, and then it'll be able to go, because it like you return a different interface, and that interface is expecting certain things, and it'll go, well, that's not a recognised framework, that's not a recognised framework, etc. And then you can go bam dot version, and they'll go, that's not thingy. That's like the nicest way of doing it, but then I've got two objects. I've got one object that's like the JSON serialization version, and then I've got an object like on top of that which acts a little bit differently. But that kind of API would be really, really nice. Not that I've become a bit obsessed with those APIs, which I think I have been. What do you think? You can have like a chain, and then it goes dot validate at the end. Like, bam, there you go. That's great. Ooh, but it's basically just an abstract factory. I'll figure it out. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I will catch you later.